Guys, I'm Dr. Bhoopesh, your online forensic tutor, and last time we have learned about forensic photography, which was a method of recording, and the next method of recording is crime scene sketching. So let's go onto the screen and learn crime scene sketching. Is one of the method of recording which is very much necessary, as in photography or with the help of the photographs we cannot record each and everything with along with the position, along with the direction and the dimensions. So crime scene sketching gives us the solution for all these problems, and also we can represent the case well in the courtroom. Okay, so let's go. Sketches are very important, okay, on the crime scene, because they provide us the exact position, they provide the dimensions, they provide the orientations of the evidences, and also the interrelationship of the evidences among each other. Let's say there is a dead body and there is a firearm. Okay, so if you are taking a photograph of that dead body along with the firearm, you cannot determine, you cannot establish that how much far the firearm is from the dead body, okay, or what is the exact location, exact position of that. And once we draw the sketch along with the photograph, then we have the solution for our problem. Now, also it is very difficult to describe the layout of an area. Let's say the crime scene is very large. So you cannot capture the crime scene in completely one photograph in that case. So what you need to do, we need to draw the sketch of the crime scene in various parts. Okay, we will not draw only one sketch at that place in large crime scene area. So what we can do, we can draw several sketches to lay down the outline of that area, whether it is a complete building, whether it is a, and in this way the prosecuting attorney may use a sketch to demonstrate the jury the complete layout of that building, of that premises. Okay, so that was the significance of the sketch. So what we need to remember in the sketch, how the sketches are beneficial along with the photographs, because they give us the exact position, dimensions, orientations and interrelationship. So these are the four significances of the sketch which we always need to keep in our mind. Okay, let's move ahead. So further, if you see here, sketches give us the accurate portrait of all the physical facts which are present on the crime scene. Do you agree with me? Of course. Let's say in supplementation to the photographs, okay, you will know that what all are the physical facts. You can index them on the sketches, that what is evidence number 1, what is evidence number 2, though it can be done in photography as well, but sketches give you a cumulative, all together, all the physical evidences in one go. Okay, so that is the most important thing about the sketch. It relates to the sequence of the evidence. Let's say you have several evidences and you have sketched down the complete crime scene. So you can see that where are the footwear marks, whether the footwear marks are on the outer side or on the inner side, whether they are going from inside out or outside in. So you can know about the sequence of the event. If you will take only a picture of a footwear impression, you cannot say in which direction the footwear impression is moving. But if you have taken an overview photograph, let's say aerial photograph, yes, then you can say somewhat. But in sketching, it is very clearly mentioned that in which way the footwear impressions were going, whether inside or outside. It also helps in establishing the location and the relationship of the evidences. Then it provides an overall picture of the scene. You can't do this in one single photograph. It is impossible. Even you use the drone photography, it will be so much high that you cannot correlate all the evidences together. But what we can do in the sketching, that we can draw whatever we want to showcase on the sketch, or whatever we want to depict on the sketch, that can be easily done as a permanent record of the crime scene. And they serve as a permanent record of the crime scene. You are going to represent the crime scene along with the photographs in the courtroom, and also during the reconstruction, during the investigation. They are so much required to know each and everything. So sketching is, yes, of course, very much necessary. And the last point here is, which I would like to mention in this slide, that it shows the actual measurement of the evidences and the crime scene. Again, I am telling you, if there is a photograph of a dead body, okay, and you have a measuring tape also, even in photographs it may not be very much clear that what is the exact dimension or exact measurement of that dead body, but in the sketch, once you have written it down, once you have noted it down, it is very much evident and it can be correlated further in the investigation. Next is the types of sketches. So there are basically two types of sketches. One is rough sketch, which is made on the spot at the crime scene, and then there is a finished sketch, which is also known as a final sketch, that can be drawn by a draft person or maybe a good sketching artist, okay, or maybe the investigating officer can also do this work as well. So what is the purpose here? The purpose here is, okay, if I ask you which sketch is more compulsory, so answer should be rough sketch, because rough sketch is made on the crime scene, on the spot, so everything you can note down there, and you do not have, why we call it rough sketch, because you are not going to invest more time there, okay, you don't have many hours to draw the sketch on the crime scene, otherwise the evidences may also be lost or evidences may be destroyed. You have to finish, you have to clean up the crime scene, you have to collect the evidences as per the law of progressive change. So we need to draw a rough sketch there on the spot immediately. So rough sketch is not like something very dirty or very ugly, but is a baseline, or a rough sketch is a base to make a final sketch, the finished one, so which can be well understood. The finished sketch can be well understood in the courtroom by the bench of jury or the judge, as well as by the investigating officer. So both these sketches are very much compulsory, but out of these two, rough sketch is the most important thing, which is going to contain all the measurements and other important data of the crime scene. Now steps in sketching are these. Okay, let's say you will first observe the scene. I am again telling you this, all these steps are happening after the complete set of photography. We have photographed the crime scene, okay, now it's time to sketch. So we will observe the crime scene first, and then we will plan our sketch accordingly, that how many sketches we are going to make, whether we have to make only one sketch or whether there will be two sketches, and which area is need to be zoomed, or finally sketch again, which is most important area. So we need to take care of all these things. Then we need to prepare a rough sketch immediately. Then we need to measure the distance. Now measuring distancing is not a work of single person, it is a tedious task, okay, it requires a teamwork. So there will be people holding the measuring tape or the measuring devices, whatever scale you are using or measuring tape you are using, and other person will be there who will be writing all the things down in details. Okay, then you need to draw an outline area over the evidences if possible. Now it is not always, number 4 is not always possible, so we need to take care, whenever possible then only we will draw this outline area. Then we need to ascertain the direction with the help of magnetic direction compass. Now each one of us have the direction compass in our mobile phones, okay, so it is very much available right away, but it is still advisable to use the physical, the manual compass there, so it is more accurate to ascertain the north and south pole. Okay, so why we are using the direction compass here? So we can ascertain on the sketch the direction of each and every evidence, whether it was in the north direction, whether it was in the east direction, west direction, or so on. Okay, so it is very much required, and there is a law that you need to face in the north direction while drawing the sketch on the crime scene. But it cannot be a hard and fast rule, because it is not always possible. These circumstances are like that. It's not always possible to face north while drawing the sketch. So, but it is advisable. So it's become easy to locate the direction of all the evidences. Once we face towards the north and we mention that this is the north direction on the sketch, so it becomes very easy to tell the direction of other evidences as well. Then you have to locate and draw the objects and evidences with the sketch and record all the details. Now in recording all the details, here we are making the notes actually, okay. And then we need to write down the list of the legends, the title, and whether the sketch is to scale, not to scale. You know, to scale on the graph papers we used to make that one small square is equal to 1 millimeter or one big square is equal to 1 centimeter, like that. If it is to scale, that we have to draw to scale or write down on the sketch, but it is always better, it is always advisable not to draw it to scale, okay, until unless it is very much required. What you can do, you can simply mention the dimensions over there on the paper, that how much far this was or what was the distance of this evidence to the other evidence, okay. We can mention the dimension over there. Now these are some of the devices which are used. So this is one of the ABFO scale, American Board of Odontology, forensic odontology. Okay, so this is ABFO scale. Then we can use measuring tape for bigger evidences and for the dimension of the wall, and all these are the measuring devices that can be used. Now first method of sketching is the baseline method. You know, what method of measurement we have to apply during the sketching or over the sketching, that depends on so many things. So first of all, if the evidences are very less and evidences are on the same plane, let's say they are on the floor, okay, and the crime scene is not that much complicated, so what you can do, you can use the baseline method. What happens in baseline method, we take a baseline from two fixed points. Now these can be any two corners of the wall, or there can be any line on the floor which is already there, okay, or it can be an imaginary line, it can be a drawn line with the help of the chalk or anything. So this becomes our baseline, and then we measure the distance of the evidence from the baseline to the evidence, usually to the center mass of the evidence. But if the evidence is very long, then we can take the 2 points of the evidence. So the first measurement will be of the baseline itself. Let's say we have taken this point as A and this point as Z, so and this point as B. Okay, so A to B we have to measure first of all, then B to B dash we can mark it as B dash. Okay, so B to B dash is 3.6. So like this, for each and every evidence we will go to measure from the baseline. Okay, so let's take an example of the baseline method in the next slide. Now see this. Now let's say X and Y are two objects, two items on the crime scene, and A and B are two fixed points. So what we can do, we can take from A to this point and then from this point to further till the evidence, and likewise. Okay, so this is the most commonly used method for the measurement of the evidences if they are on the same plane. If all the evidences are on the same plane, means like they are on the floor. If some of the evidences are on the wall, if some of the evidences are on the bed, sofa, then we are not going to use this method. We are going to use further methods. Okay, this is another example of the baseline. Now please concentrate here. So we have taken a baseline on this crime scene. This is the door, the entry point, and this is the direction which we have mentioned. It can be mentioned or at the top also. Now this is the baseline, and from the baseline there are the evidences. Let's say this is the firearm. So to the center of the mass we have taken the distance, and one dimension is this, other dimension is this, then the cartridge. So we will again take from this point till the cartridge, and then from this point to the cartridge again, and so on for the other evidences as well. Now this is a live example. Okay, so this is the baseline. Like this, you have to choose your baseline from two fixed points which are immovable fixed point, and there is a evidence here, so we are going to measure perpendicularly this evidence. Okay, as shown in the zone, some credit cards and something is there, so we are going to perpendicularly measure this. This is one of the example of baseline. Do you think that it is the most accurate method? No, because all the time we are not sure we are measuring 90 degree at an angle of 90 degree. So, and also the human errors can be there. The other thing is that, as I told you, that it can be used only on one plane. It cannot be used on other planes. Okay, so next comes the regular coordinate method. So it is actually the combination of two baseline methods, okay, perpendicular to each other. So what we are going to do here, let's take the example directly. So this is one of the baseline, this is other baseline. Let's say A is an evidence. So we are going to take the measurement from two different points, one point and from other point. It is more accurate than the baseline method. Okay, and this is evidence B. Let's take another example here. Now on the same crime scene where we used previously the baseline method, we can see how the coordinate method will be used. So from one point 90 degree to the center of the mass of the evidence, and from other point 90 degree to the center of the mass from other point. So this becomes a rectangular coordinate. Okay, so this is most accurate. So this is more accurate than the baseline method. Okay, so we are going to use this on again when the evidence are on the same plane, or this can be used when the evidence are on the sofa or bed also, but we need to be very sure that our two fixed points should be at the same plane. Next, coming to the triangulation method, which is the most accurate method, but it is quite laborious, quite time consuming. So what we do in triangulation method, again we are going to take two fixed points, but now these two fixed points have to create a triangle with the evidence. Okay, I will explain with the example in the next slide. So these fixed point, now we are going to take the measurement of these fixed point also and from the evidence. So there is no need to worry about whether or not the measurements have been made at a right angle. So that is one of the advantage of the triangulation method, which was not there in the rectangular coordinate or in the baseline method, which we can use here. Let's take an example here. So X is an evidence, which is a knife. So and A and B are our two fixed points. So we will take from A to X and then from X to B, making a triangle. So we'll take this measurement, we'll take this measurement, and we'll take this measurement. Now if I ask you, even if I misplace this evidence, and if I ask you to replace it to place it at the same position again, you can easily do this with the point A and B. You will again take it from the point A to the same distance and from point B to the same distance, and you can place this evidence again at the same position. So it is very much helpful in the reconstruction of the crime scene. Now the thing here is, we can use any method or the combination of methods whichever is required at the scene of crime. There is no need to follow any one rule. You can use baseline as well as triangulation method, the combination of both, okay, or the combination of three, all these methods we can use. That's the good thing about the crime scene sketching. Now see this crime scene sketch. So there is an evidence here. So we are going to take from one point to this point, other point to this point, and then we will measure this line also. Okay, likewise in the same example here. Then comes the polar coordinate. So polar coordinate, you know, when we also want to know the angle of the evidence, it is very good thing, and it is actually a two-dimensional system, and you need to you conduct the measurement with the help of a transit compass, which I will show you in the further slide, that what type of compass, the compass which is having the angles also inscribed on it. So you can use those compasses, those magnetic compasses, along with the direction. So it is one of the easiest method for the evidence. And if the crime scene is very large and you do not have the proper measuring tapes, measuring device, then you can use this method. Like the crime scene is plane crash or in a field area. Okay, it means very large outdoor crime scene. Let's see this example. This is inside, there is an evidence, so this is the direction, and there is a wall. From the wall we have kept the compass, and we know where the compass is going, and then we'll measure the angle, that how much is the angle of that evidence, and then the dimension, the measurement. So see this evidence, we are having the angle as well as we are having the measurement. So if I ask you to replace it at the same location, same position, so you will use a compass again, you will go to the 60 degree and up to the same distance, and then you can place the evidence again back at the same position. Okay, so it is again helpful in the reconstruction of the crime scene when we are doing the reconstruction. So this is another example of the polar coordinate method that you can see. So this is our angle, and this is the distance, okay, and this is the direction. Now there are other methods also, computer aid designing or CAD softwares are also there which can be used for this, but they are really time consuming, and these all things are applicable only on the finished or final sketches. This is not applicable on rough sketches. Rough sketch should be made on the spot at the crime scene. Okay, so this is an example of a finished sketch by using computer program, okay, which is not to scale. So we need to write down all the details as the direction has been mentioned. Now north is here, so if I ask you in which direction the head of the body is lying, so you will simply say southeast, and in which direction the legs of the body is lying, so you will say northwest. You can easily mention the directions like this for each and every evidence. Okay, and then you have to make a list of legends here if you are taking any indexing or anything. So they have used the baseline method here, so the baseline method have been marked with the asterisk here, so like this. And this is again a computer aided sketch, which is not very much required until and unless you want to showcase everything clearly or you have the availability of that particular software. Okay, now this is another example in which we have used the coordinate method. You can see the rectangular coordinate method, we have used the triangulation method also. Okay, so this is a combination of both. I think it is clear from the diagram. Okay, again now this is the source of this image, so the list of the legends are here. This is the open door and the firearm, then the measurement, the common measurement. Now here it is the rectangular method which we have used, and here you can use the triangulation method, the body on the bed, for the blood also. So one point at the same plane, at the same level of the wall, it can be taken this way and then this way, or you can take the nearest point. Okay, in this way you can measure the distances and the dimensions of the evidences. Now there is a bullet hole on the window pane or the glass, so we can measure from the base of the wall also, or we can take a triangulation method, one point from here till here, then here, one point from here till here, then here. So either we can use the coordinate method also from the center of mass, one point coordinate method, other point coordinate method, one point coordinate method, other point coordinate method, like this. Now coming to the notes and the logs, so what we are going to discuss or describe in the notes and logs all about the details statement taken from the either the victim or the witnesses there or the onlookers and viewers, and then we are going to take the details of the narrations and all the actions, what have been photographed, what has not been photographed, whether you have drawn to scale, whether you have drawn not to scale. All these things will be there, and the list of the legends, the evidences. Okay, and what you need to include in notes: date and time of the crime if you know. If you do not know, then date and time of the arrival at the crime scene. Once you are arriving at the crime scene, then proper location of the scene. Okay, then the description of the scene and the surrounding area, and who requested this investigation, name of the officer, name of the expert, name of the investigators, your witnesses, suspect and detainees if there is any. Then of course the name of the investigator and all the people associated with the task, the photographer, the weather condition, lighting condition, location and description of the evidence, and who collected it. Everything has to be there in the notes. So this was all about recording of the crime scene. We have completed photography earlier. Now we have completed sketching and notes. I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned a lot. Thank you very much to be with me.